Hi everybody, it's Kira for our first discussion for MFA 507. So I'm just going to jump right in. Main craft elements. I don't even know if there's some main ones because I feel like we use them all whenever we want. But I suppose if I was going to pick some main ones, it would be who, what, where. So who, you've got character, what, plot, and where, setting. And the rest of it you use for the why. So I don't know. Who, what, where, when, why. I guess I was just kind of thinking of it in those terms. Now, how I understand the difference with craft elements versus the writing elements. Craft elements is the style techniques you use for the writing. And the writing elements are more the technical stuff. So you've got style and then you've got technique. So that's how I would distinguish between the two. Because, of course, writing elements, like craft elements, like I was saying, plot, setting, character, dialogue, all those kinds of things, craft elements. And then the writing elements are the spelling, grammar, punctuation. Now, diction, word choice, I think is a style almost as well, or it can be. It absolutely can be. If you're doing historical, you can use lesser used archaic words. Sci-fi, your diction can be made up words, created language, all that kind of neat stuff. So diction, I think, walks between both craft and writing elements, between both style and technique. Now, the next question for discussion is about how one or more craft elements are affected by the genre in which they operate. And I guess, like I was saying about word choice, sci-fi you want a certain tone, so you're going to have to use a craft element to set a certain tone to distinguish it between, is this set here in the now, or is this set in a future time, past time, dystopian, so you're gonna, so one thing that comes to mind initially for me is word choices. When it comes to historical fiction, sometimes syntax plays a role. I think of Yoda speak, this is hard, this is, versus this is hard. Like how we organize our language. Certainly you can do that in historical fiction to get a bit of a archaic sound by just rearranging the sentences a little differently. I mean, we talk about historical fiction, but there's also fiction set in historical settings. Like you could just say the same thing two different ways by just rearranging the words a little bit. Now, personally, I don't usually think ahead of time about what style elements I'm going to use. I don't premeditate these things. I don't outline like a detailed plot even. Like I have story idea, but I don't do detailed plot. So therefore, I don't really employ specific craft elements. Of course, I'm a big reader, so I'm just mimicking, craft elements of other writers, so I don't really premeditate it, but certainly I can go back and look at my work and find where I've used things. The one thing that stood out to me in the young adult novel I wrote is reverie. Lots of thoughts, little asides of thoughts that just, from my main point of view character. And then other stuff I've written, if it's first person, lots of opportunity for reverie. So that's one that I'd certainly use. Now, what's so great about doing workshops and critiques is maybe I'll get caught using it a little too much, who knows? Or maybe it'll be some validation that I'm using just the right amount. So I look forward to that. And another craft element that I like, but I'm just one reader, is exposition. Now, Dan Brown, the Da Vinci Code, is full of exposition. I thought it was neat because our handout was very little bit down on, not too much info dump and avoid using too much dialogue to tell us, to explain things, exposition being explanations. But I loved the info dumps in the Da Vinci Code, but that's just me, right? And of course, when he started lecturing, but his main character was a college professor who lectured. So I was like, by all means, lecture away. I'm eating this stuff up. This is awesome. So and I don't even mind it in some of his other works, like The Lost Symbol and Origins. Lots of exposition, and that's what I read Dan Brown for. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Certain books are going to lend themselves to rule breaking. Show, don't tell, but by all means, in a Dan Brown novel, tell me all you can. Even Harry Potter has some, like, if you think about it, when they first meet Sirius, there's a big info dump to kind of explain how he's not the bad guy everybody thought he was. But it's used through dialogue to give us all the information we need. And then at the end of Order of the Phoenix, big info dump from Dumbledore in dialogue. And like I say, the handout kind of said, don't do too much of this. But this is exactly what happened. Big info dump from Dumbledore to Harry at the end of Order of the Phoenix. And Half-Blood Prince is basically just one big info dump through the whole thing, because we're learning about Voldemort. And then one of the most magical plot devices ever, that all those info dumps are interspersed with scenes through the pensive, where they can actually go into the memories. But anyhow, it's tons of exposition and info dumping, and it's great. And kids love it. So, put it in a magical world, and then maybe you can break lots of rules on craft elements. So, I think that's basically it. So, thanks very much.